the hastily rescheduled Portuguese Grand Prix here at the Autodromo Internacional Algarve. Was supposed to go to Japan, but yeah, stuff happened in Japan that was not good. So we're in Portimao instead. What hasn't changed is that taking pole in Japan was Scott Dixon, and luckily he's taken pole here. So that is very helpful. So Scott Dixon gets his second pole in a row, having taken it in Poland last time round. With the upgrades they've made this week at Ski Pop, help him finish a bit higher than fourth, get their team the first podium of the season. Sebastian Vettel, winner in Poland. He sits in second place, ahead of Nico Hulkenberg, who's the championship leader now. Heidfeld and Moss, his two rivals, had pretty stinky races last time out, and Hulkenberg went off into the lead. He can technically win the championship here. Let's see how it all pans out. Rossi's in fourth, ahead of Phil Hill, so the two Excelsiors together, and Milos Pavlovic in sixth. Lewis Hamilton, defending champion, he's in seventh, and Sterling Moss, third in the championship, 20 points off Hulkenberg. He needs a good result here to stay in the race. He's in eighth. Hakkinen ninth, and Felix da Costa 10th, ahead of Ayrton Senna and Falcon. Falcon finally made the upgrade to high downforce. It seems to be paying off here. John Watson is in 12th, ahead of Dan Gurney and the other Ski Pop. Alain Prost is shot up to 14th, ahead of Max Verstappen and Lando Norris. Jenson Button is 17th, Mahavir Raghunathan is 18th, beats Kvyat 19th, and after a stinker in qualifying ending in a crash, Nick Heidfeld, second in the championship, 11 points off Hulkenberg, is in 20th place. So Heidfeld is going to need a pretty spectacular run here. Yeah, I've done that again, I was too slow. So, lights build up as we get ready for the race down to turn 1. Off the line, and Dixon's had a good start. Vettel's let Hulkenberg through, but he's going to have the inside line for turn 1. The inside line for turn 2, so Vettel back up to second with Hulkenberg is third. As actually Hulkenberg is forced a little bit wide there, dropping down to fourth and even fifth. There was a chopper going wide out of turn 3, which is Raghunathan. Don't worry. Dixon, we've got really about 3 wide, but it's Hamilton, Hill and Hulkenberg all trying to squeeze towards the same apex. Moss is going to squeeze through in all of this, but is he going to get pushed wide there? No, Hacken's going to go up the inside up to 7th, but Hacken runs a bit wide. Hacken's run wide and he gets forced back a bit. There's a yellow flag further back as John Watson spins out. Watson has spun out. What's happened to him here? It's all got a bit messy through that turn 6. Now up into 7, he's got the inside piece of cost, but lost it on the curb and had a half spin into the runoff area, dropping behind Raghunathan. So Heidfeld's up 2 places thanks to other people having a spin. As Verstappen up the inside of Prost. You descend down the hill through the back section of the track. You see that Rossi is up to third now, but Dixon keeps his lead for the moment. So the cars stream down through the final corner to begin the second lap. It's Scott Dixon with a 1 second lead over Sebastian Vettel. We're heading to turn 1. The second time in a 66 lap race. Rossi's sticking closest, Pavlovic is up 2 and Hulkenberg's dropped down a couple of places with Sterling Moss right behind, so that opens the championship quite wide again. Felix da Costa side by side with Senna, and the Seagulls made the move. So Senna's dropped back to 10th, whereas Hamilton is attacking Phil Hill into the turn 5 hairpin. What we got? Yeah, Felix across the head, Hackman's to 11th, somebody else has gone off I think. Is it? And somebody's had a spin, so Sebastian Vettel Vettel is out of the race from second place. So what's happened to him on the extra turn 8? Winner last lap in Poland, so what's he done? Oh, so Dixon's run by. Dixon's had a half spin and Vettel's hit him. Well, that is a lot more dramatic than I expected, to be honest. So Dixon, yeah, he's taken he's hit the yellow sausage curb, skidded a bit wide, has lost it on the curb, got sideways, and Vettel has smashed into the side of Dixon, but it just managed to point the Siggy Pop in the right direction. So as Dixon kept his gap back going and heads into turn 9 still in the lead, albeit with a massive dent in the side, everyone else gets promoted, and poor Sebastian Vettel is set to rue an early retirement. Well, that is quite a shock, to be honest. That was, when I saw the yellow flag, I was expecting, oh, someone's just going to be spun out like John Watson. Not, the leader has spun and second place has put the leader back in place by spinning into him. Wow. Just shows Global Formula Automobilistic just how quickly things can change. See Dixon, too much curb there, skids a bit wide and loses it on the curb. And Vettel's just in the wrong place, and it's all just ricocheted in the perfect place for Dixon to somehow keep the lead. So unfortunately Vettel becomes our first retirement. Dixon now has a second lead over Alexander Rossi's up to second now. Milos Pavlovic had a spectacular drive to get himself into third already after only 2 laps. Hulkenberg's now only down 1 place after Vettel's demise. Moss isn't really keeping up with Hulkenberg for the moment. Moss has fallen behind Hulkenberg as we're heading into the first corner. He's a bit wide there on the apex. But Moss up to 5th, that's not too bad. Where's his championship rival? Heidfeld is now 17th. And currently struggling to get past Lando Norris. Struggles up the hill through turn 4. Can he make a move into the hairpin at 5? It's a decent place for a lunging overtake, if you can get close enough. Let's watch Dixon, if he makes it round turn 8 without any issues. No yellow flags so far, they've all made it through this section without any struggles at the moment. And through turn 9 is Heidfeld in a place for a lunge into 10 and 11? Not at the moment. He's quite happy as it is with this position. Well, I mean, he's not exactly happy, but he's not throwing it up the inside to make a stupid move. That's kind of what I meant by happy. For anybody who didn't get the nuance of my phrasing. Felix da Costa right on the tail here of Phil Hill, trying to make a move into the first corner. Got the slipstream, as Hackman's trying Senna as well into turn 1. Felix da Costa up the inside hill. Is he going to make the move? No, he's not. Senna also cuts in front of Hakkinen. The first corner, not an overtaking vote at the moment. They're trying the hill through 4. A bit bumpy over the curb. So Hulkenberg is now closed right up to Pavlovic, and Moss's clean lap has caught him right up into the pack. Fastest lap of the race. And the Red Knight driver. Top 5 have now put 1.6 seconds back to Hamilton, so we have got a bit of a breakaway group up front now. Rossi is chasing Dixon, he got a bit squirrely there in the braking zone. Lucky not to go flying off into oblivion. Keeps it going though. Moss did almost go flying off into oblivion with that slide. Through the fast sweeping uphill turn 12 as we head through 13. Moss, I don't think he's going to make a move yet. That doesn't seem close enough, although Hulkenberg had a really awful time there through 15, and Moss is right on the tail of the DTK driver and the championship leader. So Moss to the inside, Hulkenberg on the outside line. Moss has got the inside line, but Hulkenberg is going to sweep through on the outside line. It's a fast enough tight corner that it seems that the outside line does allow you to just carry so much more speed, and there is advantage to both. There's an advantage to being in both lines, which is super helpful in this situation. Senna is clearly holding Hakkinen up, because Dan Gurney's caught up. Hakkinen, big dive into turn 5. As I said, it's a good move if you can get close enough. And Hakkinen is through, so Senna is now going to have to worry about Dan Gurney behind. Can Gurney do anything? Trying to turn 8 this lap, as I completely missed the camera I was going for, which is that one. Look at that little bounce over the crest. It really is an impressive bit of track design there. Hakkinen now, having got past, is now falling a bit behind Felix da Costa, as this battle between Hulkenberg and Moss has allowed Hamilton and Phil Hill to catch up, so Hulkenberg is losing pace to Pavlovich, which is allowing the top 3 to become a breakaway group, and 6, 7 and 8 to catch up to 4th and 5th. Rossi challenging Dixon here for the race lead though, doing what he can. Dixon a bit wide into 3, and Rossi is super tight on the line, taking a complete different line, getting a better exit. As Dixon has struggled over the exit curve there. Rossi into turn 5 for the race lead. Alexander Rossi takes the lead in the Portuguese Grand Prix. Dixon starts back into 2nd, and Pavlovich is now going to think, right, okay, it's my turn, I need to get past Dixon. The damaged Siggy Pop is just going to fall back, especially as his tyres start to fall apart. Dixon's tyre management is still pretty terrible, just as bad as it was in Poland, which lost him out the race lead because he has to take an extra pit stop to protect everyone else. Rossi could just about make it on a 2-stop. Pavlovich is looking very solid on for a 2-stop. Dixon is struggling already. You can see the rear floating around as he fought with it. Tiny lift through 15. Pavlovich has now got the slipstream. Can he make a move into turn 1? He's going to take the outside line. Is he going to sweep around the outside Dixon? No, he's not. Moss trying the inside, but Hulkenberg sweeps around the outside, keeps the position. Pavlovich now challenging Dixon. This is going to give Rossi a chance to escape, but Dixon's doing it without losing time, so good on him. Now, into turn 5, they've survived the onslaught for the moment. As Hamilton is joining in the fight with the championship contenders. Hill and Felix da Costa backing out for 2nd now, as Hakkinen has got ahead of Senna quite happily, as Gurney's fallen back. The NLEs are trying to get past Jenson Button. Oh, this is frustrating a bit hard, but we can't even get past Lando Norris. Return 8 and over the crest. Oh, tabletop over the hill. Spectacular piece of track that is. Alexander Rossi, 1 second lead has gone over Dixon. Pavlovich in the slipstream. Can he fly past into turn 1? Pavlovich is certainly going to give it a go. He's got the inside line. Is it enough? Dixon sweeps around the outside as Moss isn't really close to Hulkenberg this time. Pavlovich is all over Dixon now, trying to find a way through. Hulkenberg is closing up to Pavlovich again. So this is allowing Rossi to lead. Dixon runs wide onto the curb. Pavlovich is going to get the chance. This is where Dixon lost the lead last time. It's Pavlovich up to 2nd. Hulkenberg thinking about a move. Pavlovich had an awful exit. As Hulkenberg up the inside, a spectacular move into 7. Keeps the place into 8, and that puts a slow and hobbling Dixon in between Hulkenberg and Moss. So great bit of driving there from Hulkenberg. Alright, so what's happened here? So Pavlovich has made the move. He's then had to lift off a bit on the exit curve to avoid spinning out. Dixon has then tried to get a move on Pavlovich, but Hulkenberg has thrown it up the inside and made that move stick. So Dixon had a second and fourth. As Moss is now trying to work out how best to get past Dixon so he can keep up with Hulkenberg's march forwards. Pavlovich has now got 1.5 seconds to catch up to Rossi if he wants to challenge for that race win. So that's his target set. Heidfeld watch, he is still stuck behind Norris and not getting anywhere. Moss is in the slipstream with Dixon, but it's not enough to make a move into turn 1 yet. He needs to hope that Dixon gets some awful exits on some curbs, although Moss is actually thinking about moving to turn 3. What a move that was pretty spectacular. Dixon's fighting it back, but he's been so compromised on the exit that really he's having to worry about Hamilton behind. Hamilton going to send a move into 5? He thinks about it. No, he does, he goes for it. They're side by side on the exit, but Dixon had the outside line, didn't have a slide. Dixon keeps the position for now, out of 5. Getting 6 and 7. Not happening as Heidfeld has made it past Lando Norris now. After being stuck behind the chopper for a long time, finally gets brave enough to just throw it down the inside on the brakes. Gets the move done. So Nick Heidfeld up to 17th. Actually, Norris is now falling behind Watson as well. So the choppers drop to the back of the order. Gurney is definitely the no man's land between Jenson Button and Ayrton Senna. Senna's keeping up with Hakkinen. Speaks to Costa, has fallen back from Phil Hill in the last few laps, so maybe he's had an attack which hasn't worked recently. Moss now up to 4th, and he's to try and keep pace with Hulkenberg. Yeah. Moss needs to outscore Hulkenberg today, or he's out of the championship. It's 20 points is the difference. And yeah, Hulkenberg outscores Moss. Then who are we on count? Oh yeah, so if Hulkenberg outscores Moss by 1 point, there'll be 21 points, and even with pole position and a win, Hulkenberg scoring nothing, Moss will be out because Hulkenberg will win on countback for having the same amount of wins if Moss wins the last race. But Hulkenberg's got more second places than Moss has, so Moss needs to either Hulkenberg and himself don't score anything, because now the pole position didn't go to Moss, he can't catch up to Hulkenberg with that. He needs to score nothing at the absolute worst. If Moss retires, Hulkenberg has to retire before he scores a point. Is basically what Moss needs, otherwise he's got to outscore Hulkenberg or he's out of the championship. Heidfeld is 11 points behind Hulkenberg with, well, 21 available after this. On countback, well, Heidfeld can still score more wins than Hulkenberg. So in reality, Hulkenberg just needs to outscore Heidfeld by 10 points to win the championship today, if he beats Moss, that is. I can't remember the point system, so give me a sec to find it, because I should have got this tab open, but I didn't, because that would be planning, and planning ahead would have meant that I knew that we could have replaced Akiyama with this track sooner. So Hulkenberg in 3rd, he's scoring 15, Heidfeld needs to get up to 11th to keep the championship alive, so as it stands, Hulkenberg will be Drivers' Champion. This is Global Formula Automotive listed, we haven't even had the first round of pit stops, and we've seen what happened to Sebastian Vettel and Scott Dixon earlier, so anything could happen here, and with Sterling Moss right on the tail of Hulkenberg, he could easily punch him off at turn 1 and get away without any damage as well. Pavlovich is close to Rossi, but Moss is even closer to Hulkenberg. We go through 15, slight blend on the throttle. fly down the straight. Moss can't decide which way to go, as he in fact chooses neither and just sits in the middle of the track, which means his line is completely compromised in turn 1. It's a good choice there, Sterling. Harper's up to 15 because it seems that Alain Prost has been shuffled back a bit as Moss has lost some time on the exit curve there. Hamilton challenging Dixon, who once again finds out that the turn 4 exit curve is horrible to drive on, and he hasn't learnt that, so Dixon slides back to 6th as his tyres start to fall off. I'm expecting him to be the first in, and for a 3-stop he'll be in about lap 16. Phil Hill, 7th is right on the tail, and Felix da Costa now, as Hackman's dropped back a bit, but Senna's nowhere near close, and Gurney's so much further back. Heifeld's now got to get past both VNLEs, but Heifeld is at least in a points paying position, well, a point paying position. Don't quite want to big up his terrible placing. Here we go, so Rossi staring back at Pavlovic. On the run down towards turn 1. Lap 22 is when we expect to see the 2-stoppers coming in, for reference. Rossi keeps the position going. Hulkenberg got a long way ahead of Moss thanks to his disappointing movements earlier. Felix da Costa is challenging Hill quite spectacularly as Hackman's joined in the group. Hamilton just having to be careful. He doesn't give Dixon too much of an opportunity by getting it wrong on an exit curve, but he's got a bit more composure than that. As it's Hill who gets it wrong on the exit curve, and Felix da Costa's going to go up the inside in turn 5. Felix makes a move as Hackman barges his way past Hill. Hill's going to fight that back as we go through turn 6. Into the braking point 7, Hackman's got the move as Hill takes a lot of curb. Almost falls over. Just keeps it going. Hill into 9th as loses a couple of places. Pavlovic is right on the tail here of Alexander Rossi. This could be a move into turn 1 this lap. Heading through 14. Getting a bit squirrely on the exit as they're fighting the camber. Pavlovic holds it flat through the corner. He's in the slipstream of Rossi and closing right up behind. This is going to be a dive bomb into turn 1. He thinks about it, he thinks about it, he thinks about it. Very close, but he takes a little bit of curve, gets some slide. Rossi falls back. Everyone so far has kept it clean. Verstappen challenging Button, can he do the same thing? Not as of yet. As Visser gets very sideways, and is that going to give Heidfeld a chance? I don't think he was quite prepared for it, as Felix da Costa up ahead has made a move on Scott Dixon into turn 5 again. So Dixon just has not learned to keep off that exit curb. Felix da Costa, very simple dive bomb, makes the move stick, although he's got it wrong on the exit curb, and Dixon shoots straight back past through turn 6 and into 7. So back at you, Felix. You can also get it wrong on exit curbs, and it's not fun, is it? Felix da Costa struggling to get the move done. As Hulkenberg gets this big slide going out of turn 12, 13. Big slide of 13, that's going to have lost the momentum on Pavlovic and thrown back into the clutches of Moss. Pavlovic once again going to have an attempt on Rossi into turn 1. Thinks about the move, not going to happen yet. He's going to be a dive into 3. Perfect place for a secondary dive. Rossi gets a bit of slide. Doesn't get caught up on exit curbs. It doesn't give Pavlovic the chance to get the slipstream down into 5 and a dive bomb. That's the one I was looking for. I knew it began with a D. There we go, lap 15 and Scott Dixon's tyres have already cried enough, so he's definitely on Very early 3-stop. That's going to release Felix da Costa to try and catch up to Hamilton. As Phil Hill is still harrying Hakkinen, trying to get back past. Button's tyres have also gone, as Visser has got past Verstappen because they've both got it wrong on the exit curve. And Visser finds her way up into 13th, makes a move. It's not really helping helping Heidfeld, of course, who's trying to get past all of this lot. And Gilmerton's fallen back to 19th and his tyres are dead. Pavlovich isn't close enough to make a move on Rossi yet. Not down this bit of the straight. There we go, Scott Dixon files his way into the pit lane. Nice and safely. Button's going to come in and that should release Visser. Heidfeld's now going to be seeing if he can use this as a chance to get past the enemies, but no, he's braking in the straight. They're all braking in the straight, and all they've done is just thrown so much time away. Verstappen challenges Visser into turn 1 for some reason, losing a little more time. And in the end, all they've achieved is nothing except holding everybody that they're racing up. Even Watson having a think on Heidfeld here. A bit of contact there. Watson hits the back of Heidfeld. Lando Norris is going to get past John Watson. So Watson makes a mistake there. Heidfeld's lucky to avoid a puncture. Dan Gurney in the other City Pop, his tyres have already gone, so he's coming in as well, as is Ayrton Senna and Phil Hill and Mika Hakkinen. Hamilton too. There's quite a large calling for 3-stoppers. Will Dixon of going in early, allowed him to undercut this lot. Pavlovich having to get on the brakes, unable to make moves yet. It's Hulkenberg and Moss carrying on their most likely 2-stop. Hakkinen, Hamilton, Senna, Gurney, there's a lot of cars in the pits. It's Visser and Verstappen are going to carry on through. Norris and Watson and Prost all calling into the pits this lap, so is Heidfeld. So Heidfeld's taking a 3-stop to try and get him out of this traffic, it would seem. Frolics in the pits. Dixon! Oh, just slides up the inside of Hamilton. That was close. So Dixon has utilised this undercut to get past those Hamilton, but Hamilton has the inside, but he locks up and runs wide, and Dixon just aims for the apex and hopes that Hamilton does something stupid, exactly like he just did. That could have very easily ended up with a big crash, but it didn't. Hakkinen has put a little gap on Hill and Senna in that pit stop, as Gurney has closed up on Senna, having made that earlier stop. Frost is coming in, as is Watson, as is Norris and Heidfeld. The stats, the enemies are staying out, so the BTKs and the Red Knights, and Alexander Rossi has finally fallen back into second in all this pit stop stuff. We missed the move. So Rossi has turn 4. He's taking some exit curb, and that's been enough for Pavlovich to turn up and send it down the inside and get that move done. So Milos Pavlovich takes the lead of the race. Serbian looking for his second win of the season. Rossi's fighting back. He's got more up the inside than Pavlovich ever did. And in fact he's going to try and keep it onto the apex, but no, he gets a bit of a slide. So Rossi is being called into the pits this lap. And this is allowed. So they've lost a lot of time racing each other. Hulkenberg has closed in on Rossi, and he's a lot closer to Pavlovich than he was recently. And Moss has now taken too much exit curb. Hulkenberg's trying to go all the way around the outside of Rossi into turn 4, turn 5 even. Rossi brakes so early. And it just got so odd there on the curves. That did not exactly go to plan for everyone. Oh, it's just pit stops and it's right until bugging out. So Rossi's tyres must be super dead because he is falling a long way back from Pavlovich. Pace has just gone down the drain. Now Hulkenberg is staring at the red light, just staring into the distance going, why oh why can I not be with you? Rossi cascades into the pit lane. Pavlovich, Hulkenberg and Moss. Pavlovich is coming in this lap, so his tyres obviously aren't as good as you expect. Actually Hulkenberg is having to come in as well. So maybe an ultra abrasive surface here is causing everyone's tyres to fall apart, and even these guys you think might be two-stopping might be having to do like a late race three-stop. Moss thinks the costs aren't coming in yet, so this Felix Moss staying out an extra lap. Will it be enough? I mean, it might just be. I mean, they might have to do. Well, I think we have to do a long final stint if they want to two-stop it. Because 22 is the laps that you want to come in. It's only lap 19, so surprising, it has to be said. You know, because if you look at what they're doing, what, 2020, 26? Or do you do 2026? I don't know. I don't know what the strategy is, to be honest. This track is obviously tearing their tyres apart now. It's Hamilton and Rossi side by side through turn 7. Rossi's obviously come out the pits and found himself, well, he lost a load of time. He's now got caught up even behind Dixon. So of course, if this lot are three-stopping anyway, all that time loss is handing Dixon a lot of advantage now. Pavlovich has made a stop. Hulkenberg exits the pits as well. Moss is coming in. Felix da Costa isn't. So could Felix da Costa be the only one here who's looking to make a conventional two-stop work? What a conundrum. Rossi trying to challenge Dixon now as he's got much warmer tyres. Hulkenberg has exited the pits ahead of Dixon and Rossi, obviously behind Pavlovich, but it's worked for Hulkenberg and not worked for Rossi. Rossi's in-lap was obviously so bad. Dixon's got it wrong at turn 4 again. So is Rossi going to make moving 5? Of course he is. Good move there, Alexander Rossi. Hamilton's now going to sit behind this pair and work out how he's going to get by someone. Hulkenberg and Pavlovich, but I hope that they're in that pace is good enough to keep, or they're at that pace is good enough to keep them ahead of Sterling Moss. Felix da Costa takes the lead, and he is coming in this lap. This is going to enter the pit lane, as Moss is exiting the pits after his stop now. It's a long pit lane, and they are passing at very high speed, so time loss is going to be pretty monumental here. Pavlovich is going to exit the pits. Oh, he's well ahead of Moss. Hulkenberg gets ahead of Moss. Do they? No, there's contact at the first corner. There's contact and Hulkenberg is forced off onto the grass and Hulkenberg gets hit by Scott Dixon. Hulkenberg's lost his rear wing. Drama between the title contenders as the camera cut away to try and find the next car. We actually missed the action as Moss just shoved Hulkenberg wide, took the apex, and Hulkenberg rejoined straight into the path of Dixon. Moss gets away without any damage. Rossi is ahead of Dixon now as Hulkenberg and Dixon are now going to do a lap in over. But DTK have already caught Felix da Costa in, so I don't think they're ready for Hulkenberg. They can't take him in this lap. Hamilton's gone past as Dixon's falling back, but Hulkenberg's going to have to do a lap and a half. He's going to have to do an extra lap without his rear wing. This is This is where the championship gets thrown right back into the hands of Moss as Hakkinen tries to overtake Hulkenberg and spins out where John Watson did, and he almost gets collected by Ayrton Senna as he rejoins. Dixon falls back behind Phil Hill now. Hulkenberg is now behind Hamilton. This is music to the ears of Moss as he's got a teammate ahead of him. And Rossi not really challenging now. Hulkenberg gets out of the way to let Phil Hill through as he still isn't getting called in. Because Antonio Felix Acosta is making his stop. So as the red lights file past, there's one, there's two, and there's an Excelsior. Felix Acosta, where's he going to be battling on the exit? Hamilton's gone through. He's going to have a clear run, he's ahead of Phil Hill. I know Hulkenberg has managed to make it into the pits as well as Scott Dixon. So where in all this? So Nick Heidfeld is now up to 11th. These two should have enough to get to the end of the race on one more stop for tyres. It's the only thing that they've got in their favour. Well, there we go, championship complexion changed again. Moss in second is going to close up to 3 points behind Hulkenberg. Heidfeld in 11th is going to close to 6 points behind. So that makes it a three-way battle at Interlagos for the title. Three-way battle with 6 points between them. Interlagos? Oh, that just sounds like a recipe for a brilliant race, doesn't it? So, here we go, lap 23. 31 minutes gone. Milos Pavlovic. He's leading. The Serbian has climbed 5 places from his grid spot to get up into the lead, so good drive here in Portugal. Sterling Moss up 6 places into second. The outsider for the title is suddenly looking pretty good to keep himself in it. Alexander Rossi, he's up 1 place into third. Looked like he could have fallen back, but luck has helped him out then. Lewis Hamilton has climbed 3 up into 4th, and Antonio Felix da Costa is up into 5th and 10th on the grid, and looking like he's going to go longest on his tyres and almost definitely on a 2-stop. He could be an outsider of Pavlovic and Moss, and that will have to make 3 stops. Phil Hill, just down the 1, but he's up 6th. Okay, Hakkinen's climbed 2 and 7th, but he could have been a lot higher if that been for a couple of mistakes and been caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. Ayrton Senna's up 3. Dan Gurney is caught up to this pack, having been in no man's land for a lot. He's up 4. Along with that, Jenson Button, he's up 7 though into 10th, so good drive from Jenson. And Nick Heidfeld up from the back of the grid to 11th. Strong drive so far, but he's going to have to keep climbing if he wants to keep in this championship. Beats Gavita up into 7th, up 7 into 12th I mean. And Max Verstappen's only climbed 2, but has fallen behind his teammate who was a lot further back on the grid. Lando Norris up 2. And Watson down 3. He spun out on the first lap, hadn't made a good start. And while he's trying to recover, but it's not really gone that well. Manuel Jonathan is up 2 and 16th, with Alan Prost down to 17th. Scott Dixon 18th, early race leader, but a spin that took out Sebastian Vettel and then contact with championship leader Nico Hulkenberg sends him back to 18th. So disaster for Dixon. And calamity for Hulkenberg in the horror show. He finds himself last. I think we're still running. I mean, of course, Sebastian Vettel's out, so that could be worse, but 51 seconds off the lead is not what Hulkenberg needs as a championship contender. He was championship leader, but must be said, he was the only one who got through Poland unscathed in the championship leaders. Heidfeld had some awful luck and some damage, and Moss's engine blew up, so whatever happens, well, a bit of karma for the moment, but it's only lap 24. There's still 42 laps to go. Anything can happen. It's Global Formula Automobilista. top three, kind of a little bit of a bunch. They're kind of close. Pavlovic has got enough of a gap to Moss, and Rossi is keeping Moss kind of under control. Not too much. Hamilton's further back, but he's leading a big pack between Felix Costa, Hill, Hakkinen, Senna and Gurney. Then we fall back a long way to Button, who's got Heidfeld right behind. In fact, Heidfeld's just poking Button through turn 3. Taking a completely different line through 4 to try and get a run down the straight and attack Button into turn 5. Heidfeld up the inside. Is this going to work? As long as you don't get it caught up on the exit curve. No, I think Heidfeld's got the move done. Nisano's going to sit here, see if she can work her way through Vinitz and Button. Not the runs at least, runs a bit wide, and that's going to give Verstappen run. Doesn't want to be aggressive with his teammate. And Heidfeld has made the move, so Nick Heidfeld up to 10th. He's now got 7, nearly 8 seconds to make up to Dan Gurney. How doable is that? I'm not entirely sure. Felix da Costa has thrown himself right into the runs here, Lewis Hamilton. Tyre advantage must be helping the DTK driver out, who's catching up the defending champion. Trying to find a place to get past. Verstappen challenging Visser into turn 1, the NLEs, will it go well? They're sensible enough to let the leader go through. Heidfeld is starting to pull a gap really. 1.3 seconds is what he's got. Having just got past Jenson Button. Felix giving Hamilton a challenge. Sliding through turn 13. Hamilton's going to have that DTK super close to him in not a long amount of time. Felix in the slipstream and closing up. The inside line hasn't been an overtaking spot much. Hamilton does give him space, neither wants to take each other out. Visser has got past Jenson Button into the final corner. Not sure how that happened, I saw it on the map. I'm just going to see is maybe Jenson's got it. Yeah, Jenson's lost some time on the exit curve, and Visser has absolutely wall of death up the inside of Button. Button then loses a load of momentum on the next exit curve. Can Verstappen pounce? Button's going to defend the inside. Verstappen's going to try and fly around the outside. Verstappen challenging Button around the outside of turn 1. What a move. What an incredible overtake there by Max Verstappen. We'll have to go and watch that again. So Button has just been passed by both NLEs in very audacious moves. Button challenged this at the inside and Verstappen just went, I'm going to go around the outside of you whether you like it or not. And takes the place. Visser gets it all wrong on that exit curve, but Verstappen isn't close enough to make a move on the teammate. Heidfeld made a second up on Gurney already, so that's going to start coming down. Felix da Costa still trying to work out a way to get past Hamilton. Pace difference in the DTK and the CAS is obviously significant, but not enough for the moment. Right here, Felix sitting in the slipstream of Hamilton. Heading down the front straight. Is Felix going to go to the inside? Yes he is. That's a big overspeed. Is Antonio Felix da Costa going to have the racing line? No. Decides caution is a better position to take. Hamilton keeps the place for another lap. They have completely left Hill and Hackman in the dust. I will say that. This trio is falling a long way back from Felix Cross and Hamilton. 3 seconds now. And they were together after the stops. Norris and Watson have closed up to Button and the 2 NLEs. Prost is nowhere near. McGillicuddy's also nowhere near. There's Hulkenberg and Dixon are just like depressed and not even battling, but Hulkenberg has closed up on Dixon. Hulkenberg clearly does have the pace, even if it's for back for 18th place. Hamilton having to defend here from Felix Cross again. Pretty much the same thing. Felix not wanting to risk it, but all the while they battle, it allows Pavlovich, Moss and Rossi to just pull away up front. Felix and Hamilton's chances of winning this race in superior pit stops is eking away at this rate. We'll be waiting for the pit window to appear because there's not too much battling. I think we might get a bit of fast forwarding in. Yeah, Felix hasn't made the move yet. Positions are still the same. Jenson Button is falling back. That's because his tyres have died and he's about to make his first pit stop. Reguniton's also coming in at the moment, as Hulkenberg has got past Dixon somewhere. Heidford's still 10th, but he had a long way to go to catch up. Hamilton's likely to be overtaken by Felix crossing the next few corners, especially as he's about to jump in the pit stop anyway. Hamilton battling Prost on the pit lane exit there. Hakkinen is... Oh no, he just made his stop. Watson. What I was thinking of. Gurney is coming in. Everything seems normal for the moment. Jenson... no, Reguniton, sorry, is a lap down though. Senna exited just in front of Hulkenberg, so... Hulkenberg on net is probably about 10th-ish, I suppose. You know, I don't know, we'll find out when everyone here has gone in. Pavlovich and Moss are still happy out front. Rossi's coming in for his stop. Felix Costa's carrying on. Heidford's going to pit from 5th. Hamilton's well ahead of Phil Hill. He's got Hakkinen closing up. Senna's not really goes. Hulkenberg's pace is actually quite slow after the stop. Whereas Dixon's just ahead of Dan Gurney. Alexander Rossi exits the pits behind both NLEs. Heidford's about to get overtaken by Hamilton, of course. It's really going to be where does he appear around Hill and Hulkenberg. Actually, he's right behind Gurney, so Heidford, there you go, he's closed the gap up to Gurney that we said he needed to close. Dixon's coming in this lap, but Hulkenberg's quite happy to carry on. His tyres should last until about lap 44 or something, that's what I expect to see. Pavlovich quite happy to carry on. His tyres have gone, he's coming in this lap. Rossi now challenging Verstappen. Verstappen gets out of the way by pitting. Moss makes his stop from the lead. Felix Costa carrying on for quite a while. Rossi is right back on the tail of Moss now, although Moss has got clean air and a fresh tyre, so he should have the pace. Hackman's ahead of Hill and Hulkenberg. Can he make 26 laps on this last set of tyres? Who knows? We'll find out in the next stint, Saurus Rex. Hulkenberg's down 17th now, but this is ahead of Laguna further than Dixon. Felix Costa lap 42, but he's coming in. He should make it to the end on this set of tyres then, I think. So he exits the pits just behind Hakkinen, but ahead of Hill. So, this is probably a race. If Da Costa can get the move done soon enough, he could be on a chance to challenge Pavlovich and Moss in that after stops. Moss has lost an awful lot of time in traffic around the pit window, which has given Pavlovich a massive lead and allowed Rossi to catch right under his tail. So Ragunathan here is about to be overtaken by Dixon, maybe not yet. It'll happen at some point, I'm sure of it. I mean, it's pole sitter against Ragunathan. Hulkenberg challenging Alain Prost. Hulkenberg gets past Alain Prost. Dan Gurney is doing a good job here of holding up Nick Heidfeld. That's impressive, seeing as the pace difference between them was phenomenal earlier. Felix Da Costa having to go up Nicky Hakkinen in turn 1. Can he make the move stick? No, he can't. Not yet, at least. 25 seconds though behind Pavlovich. I think Felix, even if he gets one less stop, he's not going to win this race then. Oh, who's just jumped in the pits? Oh, it's next pit stop time. Oh, Senna's lost his rear wing somewhere. Oh, okay, so Senna's come out of the pits. And who's he been collected by? Oh, it's Hill and Norris. Oh, and then... Okay, Hill and Norris have teamed up to take out Senna's rear wing and not taking any damage themselves. That is slightly awkward. Ross is coming in this lap. The Heidfeld and fifth is making a stop so far. Oh, Rossi's come out of the pits and gone off track. What's happened there? Has he spun off or is he broken down? Oh no, it's... Oh, that sounded gearbox dying. Yeah, look, his car's turned off. Alexander Rossi is a retirement from this race. He was challenging for the lead and his gearbox selected the wrong thing and he's falling down the order. Rossi becomes the second retirement of the race. What a disaster. It's been like that all year for Excelsior. They get a chance for a good result and reliability screws them over. They've had some terrible luck. The win in Germany is that the only good thing that's happened to them. I mean, they could have won. Rossi should have won his and the team's home race until a late race retirement. He just lost it on a curb and that was it. Verstappen, I think, had just got past Visser. What's going on here with the red lights? Are they coming into the pits or are they happy to carry on? I think they're carrying on, two-stopping this. Felix is now a lap ahead of Scott Dixon. Right, so if pit stops are done then, so Pavlovich is looking like a win here. Moss in second is going to score solid 17 points, which will be 3 points behind Hulkenberg. I don't know how many points Hulkenberg is going to score. Felix da Costa third is going to keep DTK looking strong in the Constructors' Championship. Staffing up into fourth and Visser fifth. That's a very good result for NLE if they can keep that. Hamilton sixth. Back in the seventh, we've got Hulkenberg up into ninth. If his tyres make it to the end, then he's recovering from this actually. Ninth place gets him 7 points, so you know that's going to mean Moss is, if he stays like this, Moss will be 10 points off Hulkenberg at the end of going into the last race of the season. With Heidfeld 1 place behind, it'll be 6 points, so actually extended his lead on Heidfeld to 12, so as it stands, Hulkenberg's not winning the championship, but he's got a foot through the door. Certainly puts the onus on Heidfeld and Moss to really outscore him in the last race, unless of course Squeaky Bum Time screws any of them over. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, or that reliability crater. I think there's a better name for it. Oh no, here we go, Pavlovich is coming into the pits. With 10 laps to go, race leader Pavlovich jumps into the pit stop, so Moss is coming in as well. Felix da Costa, will he get past Pavlovich on the run to turn 1? Yes he does. Scott Dixon trying to unlap himself, and Felix da Costa, that is going to be an issue. It's going to hand Felix's chances here. Unless Pavlovich catches up and tangles with Dixon, this could be a problem. So, Visser is coming in. Hamilton's happy as Verstappen makes his final stop. Right, so don't count your chickens yet. Hulkenberg could still pit. Pavlovich has got 3 seconds to catch up to Felix da Costa. And a track like this we can overtake, especially the tyre advantage. I wouldn't say this is Felix da Costa's race at all. Especially there's no guarantee he's not pitting again, although I don't think he will. Moss into the pit stop. Felix da Costa's going to round turn 14. Gets to 15. Pavlovich is just going to get staring down. Look, Dixon is still challenging. But he was really pestering Felix da Costa here, which is not what the now new race leader needs. Moss exits the pits and actually he's going to have to be careful because Ragunathan's going to unlap himself and that was close. Felix Acosta actually has to let Scott Dixon through, which is going to give Pavlovich a massive chance here. Scott Dixon unlaps himself in the race leader, then gets a blue flag, and Felix is going to have to try and find a way through somewhere. Pavlovich now is going to try and get past Dixon at the first available opportunity, which of course he does. And now, thanks to Scott Dixon, he's just allowed Pavlovich to catch up at least 2 seconds in half a lap. Moss gets past Regina in not exactly the greatest place, but it'll do. Hulkenberg from 7 is coming into the pits, so if Hartford's going to the end, this is going to help him. This does let the championship back open a bit more. Felix Acosta leads. Pavlovich has the tyre advantage. Going up the inside of Felix Acosta into turn 1. Is he going to make the move stick? No. Felix Acosta holds around the outside. Pavlovich has the grip and takes the lead into turn 2. Milos Pavlovich retakes the race lead from Felix Acosta. 8 seconds back to Sterling Moss. Can Moss close the gap and get the position? Well, I mean, if Scott Dixon gets involved, yes, is probably the answer. Hakkinen now is in 5th. Hill 6th as Hulkenberg heads into the pits. Who's going to exit the pits? Ahead of John Watson. So Hulkenberg now 11th, but with fresh tyres. This is Verstappen going to Heidfeld up into 7th. So Hulkenberg in 11th. He now scores 5, which will put his total up to 130. Heidfeld in 7th will score 9 points. Those 9 points will put him up to 121. 9 points off the championship lead. Sterling Moss in 3rd, it's 15. Brings him up to 120. 10 points off the championship lead. This title race is not over. It will still be quite comfortably advantage Hulkenberg in Brazil. But for the moment, it's Hulkenberg advantage, but he's not winning the title here today. I mean, even if it was in 11th, so 9th, yeah, even if both Heidfeld and Moss retire now, Hulkenberg will need to make some overtakes that, being 14 seconds off the next car ahead of him, won't be enough for him to win the title. He will need mega squeaky bum time for a lot of people if he wants to win the title today. So really, Pavlovich has got the win pretty much in the bag here, and it's can Felix Acosta's tyres survive until the end of this race, and Dixon challenging him, and Moss close it up. Moss does have a couple of lapped cars on the way to get past Senna. Verstappen, Gurney and Visser are in a bit of a scrap here for 8. Visser's going to challenge Gurney. Visser takes set 9th place from Gurney. Good move from the NLE drivers, working together to get the job done. Hulkenberg got some new tyres, fastest lap of the race. Although Verstappen's under pressure here from Visser. Visser at the inside. Kubica Visser was the driver on the move now. Verstappen's going to fight back through 7. Not going to get the move, and into 8. Visser keeps the place. Good driving from the pair of them. Dixon goes flying off at turn 1, hits the wall. What's happened to Scott Dixon there? Senna has to smash on the brakes. So Dixon's got him. Is he getting a blue flag? Yeah, he's got a blue flag here for Sterling Moss. And he's just braked far too late. Kept his foot and grazed the wall. Somehow kept it going, but lapped by Senna now. This has been a horrible race by the pole sitter. Everything that could, Murphy's Law has ruined Dixon's race. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong. And it's just, ever since Hulkenberg got pushed off by Moss, it's been the end of Dixon's race, really. Felix da Costa has got 3 laps, no, 2.5 laps to survive on these tyres from Sterling Moss, who's closing rapidly. Not happening yet. So here we go. As Pavlovich heads onto the final lap of the race, Sterling Moss challenging Felix da Costa. Felix da Costa's teammate, really do, with him staying ahead of Moss. Of course, in the Constructors' Championship as well. Moss fights the inside. Felix da Costa's got the place, and he keeps ahead. Moss is not feeling like throwing his championship away on a risky move against a rival who could certainly benefit from punting Moss off. Felix da Costa's made an awful exit. He's got on the curbs, and Moss into turn 5 on the last lap gets ahead of Felix da Costa. His defence and his 2-stop has been valiant, but Moss takes the place back. Felix da Costa challenges him to 7, but it wasn't really worth a dive bomb this late in the race. So Moss gets up into 2nd, and this brings the championship closer to him. What he needed, with Hulkenberg losing time. Pavlovich challenging Jenson Button here through turn 14. Well, we haven't seen him on the top step since his debut race, the Brazilian Grand Prix in Brasilia. But Milos Pavlovich here with the rescheduled race in Portugal has gone across the line. Pavlovich wins the Portuguese Grand Prix. Spectacular drive, red light 1-2. As Moss crossed the line in 2nd. Felix da Costa finishes the podium in 3rd place. How's that going to help the constructors? Well, it's going to close Red Knight back up. It's going to be a photo finish in the constructors as well as the driver championship. Lewis Hamilton, 4th place. Solid drive from the other CAS driver, not in the championship hunt. Mika Häkkinen takes 5th. Best result of the season, in fact, for Häkkinen. Phil Hill comes across the line in 6th. Nick Heidfeld, brilliant recovering from the back of the grid up into 7th place. He keeps himself in a championship hunt. This takes 8th, ahead of Verstappen. Dan Coney rounds out the top 10 for his best result of the season as well. Should get him ahead of Laguna in the championship and off the back of their grid. Nico Hulkenberg, well, lost his rear wing early on. Recovery to 11th is probably the best he could expect, to be honest. John Watson will take 12th. And Jenson Button's going to pit. I don't know why, but he's 13th. Yeah, okay. Norris first to be lapped in 14th, Prost 15th, Senna 16th, Laguna in 17th, and Dixon in 18th. Rossi and Vettel are only retirements of the day. Well, that was the Portuguese Grand Prix of Global Formula Auto and Lister Season 3. I hope you've enjoyed the race. Sorry it had to be another fast-forwarding one, but it just ended up being that way. Yeah, it all kind of strung out and not much was happening, unfortunately. This should all be changed for Season 4. There's some good changes on the way, and hopefully they will improve some of the late season racing. All the cars are on the same power, which we're stuck with now. That should all change the next time out. So I hope you enjoyed the race, or what you can of it. If you have, please chuck a like on the video. Comment down below on anything you think. Actually no, don't comment on anything you think. Comment down below who is going to win the championship. Is it going to be Hulkenberg? Is it going to be Heidfeld? Or is it going to be Moss? Tell me in the comments. Join the championship and race department, and I will see you next week for the final race of the season, championship decider, the Automobilista Grand Prix. I will see you then. Goodbye.